Hello everybody and welcome back to LMM, and if you're enjoying what you're seeing on the channel at the moment, the links to our social media are in the video description, including things like our Teespring store where you can buy shirts just like this one to help support us here at the channel and show people what you think of LMM. Today I am stood in the shed, which can only mean that it's time for What's Broken Now. Stuff has indeed been moving on this month in the shed, and personally I have created something that I am exceptionally proud of. You'll have seen over the last few weeks I've been slowly painting bits for the 35. And I've got rather bored of kneeling on the floor painting bits, so I've come up with this thing here. I've made a turntable on a very solid table, which I am exceptionally proud of. But it does mean that for the first time in my ownership, the wings for the 35 are now red. And okay, this is a first coat and it's not very good, but you have no idea just how excited I am to have this finally starting to come together. I've got the first coat of matty red on most of the things, not the bonnet, but the seat and the wings. And it's been such a long overdue project to actually get it to this side. The little child in me that has wanted that 35 for over a decade is now so excited that I feel that we're now starting to turn the corner and getting onto the final stretch for it. We are slowly starting to get it to look like it's coming back together again. So I'm very, very excited. Hopefully over the next few months, the 35 will live again and I can start to trundle it around on the roads and just do what I've always wanted to do and have a tractor on the roads. It's very good, and you know what, for hand painting I'm really, really happy with how this is starting to come out. Yes, this all needs a sand down, yes, it's not perfect, but I'm really happy. For a tractor, this is going to be absolutely fine. It's just, I'm good. And on the subject of actually fixing things, Matt took the time to have a look at that compressor that we acquired, and we fiddled around with it. I bought some replacement parts from the internet and we put them all together, and now we have a working compressor. And this is really exciting because it's a far greater capacity and delivers a greater amount of air per minute. There's a technical term for that which I can't remember, but it means that we can actually power air tools. And there is a device which we bought a very long time ago, which is a blasting cabinet, which our tiny, tiny compressor didn't have the capacity to run. But now we can. And now we've got the compressor working, that meant we could start on one of the projects that has been sat in the back of the shed for, well, forever. And that is the Turbo MR2. Yes, I know, shock horror. Most of you by now will be aware that the Turbo MR2, well, it didn't actually need that much doing to it. In fact, it turned up here as a working vehicle that needed paint and a windscreen and a couple of other tiny jobs. And then, if you cast your minds back way before COVID, me and Matt took his MR2, which is just tucked behind me, off to Belgium. And in order to make his MR2 make the trip, we borrowed several components from my one, with the promise that Matt said he would repair and replace the brakes and replace everything else that he borrowed.
So I've got one of the pistons out, but the other one is completely stuck. So I've pushed it back in, and with a block of wood here, I should, hopefully, be able to push that other piston out with some compressed air. Oh, it's going.
Is it?
Yeah, a little bit. You might actually need more pressure. Or a lorry wrenching on it. That's not moving at the minute, is it?
I don't think so. Oh, that one came out.
Yeah. There's all kinds of gunk.
Yeah, it looks lovely.
Grim. Right, so the basic plan is actually to get these sandblasted in my new fancy cabinet. Well, it's not new, I've had it for a year, but we've never touched the thing, so I digress. The aim is to get these cleaned up. The problem is that sandblasting doesn't really work when you've got that layer of like mud and grime and grease and on everything. It absorbs the impact of all the little shots. So I need to scrub these up first, dry them off, and then we'll transfer them to the blasting cabinet and get them painted up, looking actually snazzy. So this is my new purchase, and it's actually doing pretty well. So this is what the brake caliper hangers looked like before, and I'm obviously not completely finished on this one yet, and it's a bit dusty in there, but you can see how much better this metal's coming through here. So yeah, this is a lot less work than I think than wire brushing would
It's also, you're getting a better finish because you're actually getting in there, you're getting all the little bits off, whereas wire brush won't get into those.
Yeah, exactly. And once these are done, then they can be painted in a nice red, I think. You can actually have nice clean brake calipers.
Oh, it's going to be nice to have brakes at the moment, because at the moment it's a little bit, well...
Missing.
Yeah. It's over a year we took them off, Matt, to go away.
Yeah.
So
February
just before lockdown, wasn't it? Because we came back...
Came back and then lockdown happened.
We came back, I think, announced America, then immediately cancelled America,
yeah.
And then the video went out and people are going, well, why are you going out in a pandemic? No, we did it.
We decided against it, like sensible people. But yeah, new toy is working quite well. Although, despite having a nice big compressor now, it still does chew through that air surprisingly quickly. So, after being in the blasting cabinet, these look significantly better. Now, unfortunately, I've learned now that the blasting cabinet is not a one-shot wonder of I just press the button and all the rest disappears. So, this took quite some time. However, they're now going to paint, which means they won't be rusting again. And this is the second coat, so hopefully this will be the last they need.
You realise you missed a bit over my side, right?
I've missed lots. It doesn't matter.
But what do you mean it doesn't matter? I want my brakes to look nice.
You don't see that bit. Right, now these have been freshly painted, this is the fiddliest part of it, which is getting these bellows back on and getting the calipers actually back together. As you can see over here, nice done set there, just onto this final one. Once that's done, it's literally a case of putting these slide pins, which I lost somewhere, into the other halves, and then sticking them together on the car. And hopefully they'll function if I've done my job right. Or you know, it could just be an elaborate ruse to get rid of Lawrie, but we'll let him work that out.
I wasn't scared, and now I am terrified.
Yeah, well.
Every time I go into a corner now, I'll be like, did Matt do this as well, or?
I wouldn't make them fail here. This would be far too noticeable. It'd probably just be on the brake line. Much easier way of doing it. Nice shiny red calipers with nice shiny yellow pads in there. So we've gone for EBC yellow stuff, which is what this car had on it originally, because it was very lightly modified beforehand. Perfectly done in my opinion, so we've repeated that with the EBC yellows. Bit more expensive, but you get what you pay for. I personally think these calipers look quite nice here. But the problem is at the moment is that these are currently dry of fluid and the whole system has basically been exposed to the air for quite some time. So unfortunately we now have to enjoy the tedious job of bleeding up the entire car. As you can tell by it being jacked up in the air in a not the most stable manner with the jack stands in the middle of that.
Hey, it is on stands.
It's stable.
We are not being sketchy as we have been. It's on stands, it's not on jacks, and it's not on wood or anything.
No, it's kind of done properly. So bleed these up, and then hopefully we can poodle around the yard a bit and make sure they actually stop us.
Which will be the first time it's been outside and done its own thing in
about a week, because you took it out the other week.
Yeah, but it didn't stop on its own, did it?
No, it didn't stop on its own. But
how long have I had?
It did. The handbrake.
Oh yeah, the handbrake was. How long have I had this? Does this technically predate the channel?
This predates the channel, I think.
I mean, we had it unveiled on the channel, but I think it had been here.
Been here before.
Yeah.
This is an old friend, is what this is. It's finally going to go on the road. The first time on the road trip.
I'm so excited. Oh, is that meant to be stiff?
What?
Is that meant to be stiff?
It's not that stiff, I'm just very weak.
It goes round.
It freely rotates.
So we have now put the brakes back on it and bled them up, and they work. And Matt has done a phenomenal job cleaning and repainting the brakes. It's the most love the car has had for a very long time. We actually achieved what we set out to do, which is a rarity. And this car for me, I know it sounds stupid, but it's a car that I don't really have, I'm not going to say any love for, because I really like MR2s and the turbo MR2 is awesome. But everything else in here, I've got like a personal attachment to. I like the personality of the car. I've fallen in love with that particular car. And the turbo, I haven't, because I've never taken it anywhere. I've never done anything with it. And so it's never kind of got that reaction. Like, even the Moggy, I've driven that thing around up here and I love it and I love the look of it, I love the charm of it. The 106, I have done a phenomenal amount of miles in. My blue T-Top MR2, I have done a silly amount of driving around in. The NX has been around Wales and been my daily. I have a relationship with them. I really love them. But the turbo, until now, I've never really felt that. I've never even made the turbo blow off. So having got the brakes working, we thought we'd just take it outside and just up and down the driveway and put our foot hard down. And it made the blow off sound, and suddenly I am very, very excited because it went and I was like, oh. Also on the subject of progress, the NX, long forgotten and parked up in the shed without an engine, slowly is starting to move forward again. I decided that because I have this brand new shiny gearbox, well, not brand new, but reconditioned and shiny, it'd be really nice just to tidy up the engine a bit. As it's outside, it'd be nice to clean it up, make it look a bit smarter, and clean up the engine bay. So Trev started to disassemble and clean up the rocker cover, ready for us to attack the rest of it and get it looking nice and shiny.
How much would you have fought with these beforehand without this?
I'd have just broken them.
Yes. They would have just stripped. Because for some reason Nissan were like, let's use Phillips heads to secure our cam cover down.
To be fair, I don't think I've seen it before.
No, neither have I.
They're always bolted.
No. I've seen hexes, not hexes, torques. They're fine, but Phillips, no, that is actually insane. I suppose this was like, it's still kind of the good era of Nissan, I suppose. 2002.
It's one of the last good things they made.
2002, that was the death of Nissan. Because they stopped...
Duke?
What?
Birth of the Duke?
No, they stopped making the GTR and they stopped making the Sylvia in 2002. Both of those lines died then there was nothing.
Was that when Renault partnership?
Yeah, well, Renault partnership started in 2000, but they kept making stuff for a while, and then Goten came into power in 2002, and then Nissan died.
When did the Duke come out?
Probably still in there, I think.
That's when they died in my opinion. That's a hideous car. To any of our followers who have got Dukes, we're sorry.
You're incorrect.
Yeah, we're not sorry for our opinion, we're just sorry that you bought one.
We're sorry you bought a Duke, yeah. However, that should now, all of those should be loose. So you should just be able to use a Phillips to get the rest of those out. Right. So, JIS magic.
If you could just not do what Morgan did and knock it over the other as well, that'd be lovely. I love how you both moved at that point.
Yes!
Cool. Good luck.
I hope that is the only two variants that we can have.
We actually be productive today, Lawrie.
I'm trying.
Wow, he's trying so hard to be productive. Look at him.
He'll get distracted in a minute.
He's like
That's why I tried to hide his phone from him so he'd actually get on with.
He's like a chin.
Right moment.
You love us.
So, coming soon to LMM, vacancies for 3 assistant producers, assistant presenters.
Yeah, no one's going to want to come along. Have you heard of the term digging your own grave and then jumping right into it? Because that's exactly what you've just done there.
We are the best you're ever going to get.
Yeah.
As depressing as that is.
I couldn't ask for a better group of friends.
I'm pretty sure you could. Or is it just that you don't set your sights that high? You just
I have very low standards.
Do-do-da-day, do-do-do-da-day. Watch Trev slide his fingers off, do-do-do-da-day. If this does make it to the edit, and anyone is watching, I know that this would be done a lot easier on the floor. But I'm being exceptionally lazy and I can't be bothered. So we're doing it this way instead. Yes. Yes. Oh, this would be a lot easier with scissors. Do you know, if you donate right now to Patreon, even from as little as £1 a month, we could potentially buy some scissors that actually work.
Whilst Trev was here and Morgan was distracted, we had an idea. You may have noticed that there's a lot more space around us at the moment, and that's because we've had a big reorganise. Yes, I've also put some more plastic up at the back of the shed to stop the stuff coming through the gaps in the roof. But we decided that Morgan's Fiat X19 that's stored in here, yes, one of the three, was, well, in the way. We also realised that whilst he wasn't looking, the three of us, because his engine's in the back, we could pick it up and just manoeuvre it a little bit. I also made some progress with Viking, although minor. You may remember that ages ago I went and picked up a bonnet from Wales for it, and so that has had a wire brush, a clean-up and a coat of Rust-Oleum. I haven't done anything else to it, and I haven't done anything else to the digger full stop, but it is something that is kind of in progress, and it was just, I need to make this a little bit better to stop it getting any worse. So that was put onto that and dealt with. And then, of course, Matt. Matt's been quite busy, you see, because he's been working on this. Matt's decided that, well, some of the metalwork on this isn't perfect. And so, with his newly found welder skills, well, he's been busy welding it up.
Right, so I know I said that I was just about to weld in there, but I've thought of things, and that this is the fuel tank, and up here's the fuel filler neck, and I need to weld behind it, and I've decided that petrol is not really ideal, so oh god, that stinks. This is probably just going to be mostly water, but I can't undo it all the way, because once this is full I have to empty it into the container over there, and then I don't know, I've not really thought this far through. But there's fuel coming out now, so let's just see how this goes. Maybe a little bit dry, guys.
I'm a mechanic.
I don't know what's going on.
Welcome to the loony bin. I don't know what he's trying to approve or... Hi? What?
Are you having fun?
I'm getting the rest of the stuff out of the petrol tank.
Is that what the kids are calling it now?
Okay then.
Excuse me, I need a bit of alone time. I just need to get the rest of the petrol out of the fuel can.
What are you doing?
In the fuel tank on.
It does smell very petrol-y down here.
That's because I poured all the petrol out on the floor.
Oh, is that what that is? No, that's...
No, that's something from one of your vehicles. I assume
No, that's not. I know what that is. That's from the other day with the engine, isn't it? That's your engine. That's
yeah, that is my engine.
That's your spare engine.
Yeah, so I've decided that welding on top of an engine isn't probably not the greatest of ideas.
I hear that's possibly a positive move, yeah.
So, oh, thank you very much.
Finger sander and a Morgan.
And a banana.
Is the banana...
Is that for Lawrie?
Hey, Matt. I think you're allowed to...
Banana. There's a joke here, I can't quite get it together.
I don't actually have a jack under this. It's probably going to fall on my head, isn't it?
That's probably not heavy.
What is it?
Fuel tank.
Oh, right.
He's got to weld and decided that welding on top of fuel.
I've got a weld there and the fuel tank is here.
That's right. Put it all in your mouth.
Thank you guys. I'm quite happy down here. Oh, I thought there was cables dangling in my face every... I am vaguely concerned the amount of cables and unplugged
I like the things that aren't plugged in, yeah. What do you reckon they used to do?
Well, they're supposed to go to these rear lights, which you did say was not connected.
They do appear to go to the rear lights. Oh, I see.
Ah, I know what these are. These would have all got something right here on this bracket. Now, what did we find in that little box of things which was there?
I can't remember.
Yeah, you can, because you pointed it out. Ignore him.
Did I?
Trailer.
Oh, it's got
Trailer.
Oh,
It
yeah,
all
that would be,
comes
yeah,
from the
exactly.
same
That would be your
output.
repeaters, wouldn't it, for the trailer
Yeah.
connection? I love the idea of towing with this. Like most trailers that I move around, like the works trailer is heavier than this.
Yes, it is.
What's the towing capacity of this vehicle?
Not much.
Something over that side. Yeah, it'll be the fuel.
The neck of it.
No, the next arm. It'll be the fuel feed to the engine.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Talk amongst yourselves.
So, you join me at the moment in the final stages of getting the chimney ready. In the final stages of getting the chimney ready. The big sheet in the bottom, which makes up the floor of the chimney now, is actually almost fully welded in. I'm almost done putting the bead across the bottom there. So, welding inside will then be finished because I've touched it up to the skin. I've done it all. I'm going to try and do it from the other side as well. So I'll pop the wheels off and just see if I can do it there. Once all that's done, it's basically body lift time, and to get all of this coated so it doesn't rust away like it did before. Because as I've been welding, I've noticed in the front there's at least about 12 to 15 patches. So it's already been patched quite a lot, and I think this is the largest patch. But it is a patch which is now in.
It's better than it was, isn't it?
Where?
Well, when we got it, it was tack welded.
Yes, it was tack welded.
And now it is, like you showed earlier, you wiggle the sides, and now the sides kind of one with the car.
Yeah, as opposed to when they're all loosely attached. But
It doesn't sound quite like a drum anymore. It used to be able to kind of play it. Okay, it does on the top. From the sides, not so much.
no, from the sides, that's actually easy.
It's more of a bass drum now, rather than a...
I'm going to tiger seal up along those gaps as well, just so water and crud doesn't get inside. But
My favourite thing actually so far is I was looking as you were welding, you could just see the sparks falling outside.
yeah, just the outside catching on fire, because there's just a big line of no paint along the outside now, where there's been welding.
Yes, it has been on fire.
Necessary evil, I'm afraid. Necessary evil.
It is improvement. It is progressing.
Well,
Taking the fuel tank off the chimney was an easy task and didn't involve any stress at all. But once we had successfully removed it, Matt set about welding up the back of the chimney. And he's done a superb job because it's a lot more structurally sound here. The only downside is that we keep finding bits where he goes, I need to put a bit more weld here. I need to put a bit more weld here. But we are slowly moving forward with that. And we're looking at the idea soon of lifting the body to give it a very good undercoating of underseal, just to make sure that rot doesn't get any further. And then when we take it off-road, that it doesn't get all full of mud and wet and stuff stuck in and start eating away at some of the metal we put back in. But this car is very definitely moving forward. The other big news was that the Starlet went off to go get painted.
so this is actually the last time we are all going to see the Starlet like this, because it is off to get painted. You might notice the wings are now back in their original colour, so it actually looks more complete now than it ever did before. But this is now officially off to the paint shop, and I will now no longer be the owner of a multicoloured vehicle. It's actually quite sad.
Are you going to tell people what colour it's going, or is this going to be a surprise for when it actually rolls out in...
Judging by what colour the wings were, I'm pretty sure everyone knows what colour I want it to be. Whether it gets painted that colour or not is an entirely different thing. But it's not the most expensive paint job in the world, because we obviously don't have a lot of money here at LMM, but they come highly recommended, so hopefully it's good enough.
I mean, having it as one colour will be better than the... I mean, it's still in, what, 3 colours?
I would miss having it in all these colours.
It certainly is distinctive.
It was iconic.
And you're going to lose your little tuning racing developments thing as well.
I know, basically to sand that off before it goes.
We could probably get another one though. What about the number 1 that I put on when we bought it?
That went years ago.
So we all wait with bated breath to see just what will happen and what the end result of the car will be. And of course, we've all got to wait and find out what colour has Matt chosen for the car to be painted. Genuinely quite excited because it's going to change how it looks and also hopefully open the door for some other vehicles in here to actually start moving forward. And that basically brings us to the end of what we've achieved this month in the shed. We have been quite busy elsewhere and I haven't really spent as much time as I'd like to in here. Since the COVID restrictions in the UK are starting to relax, we have had many offers of things to go and film, and many things that we've had set up from either before COVID or have been offered to us during COVID. And frankly, it's been manic. Absolutely manic, and there's a load more stuff coming up. We have so much content lined up, both with stuff that we're doing in here, with stuff going places, to shows and things that we're planning to visit, and just the general content that you should see on the channel. It's all quite exciting, guys. So, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of What's Broken Now. Let me know what you think of my magic table, and if I've done a wonderful job of making this thing. And thank you very much for watching. Let us know which of the projects you're most excited to see moving forward. And of course, if you haven't already, give us a like, subscribe if you haven't. Thanks for watching, guys. And we'll see you next month for the next episode of What's Broken Now. I'm genuinely impressed with myself. Matt has welded up a car. I made a spinny bit for a table.